Revealed. How one cleaning lady's unexpected translation turned a millionaire's life upside down. Marisa wiped her brow as she finished dusting the pristine office of Ethan Richards, the tech mogul everyone in Chicago seemed to know. She paused for a brief moment, taking in the skyline visible through the massive glass windows. A slight ache crept into her chest. She had big dreams, but they felt so far away as she scrubbed the remains of someone else's successful day. She heard hushed voices nearby, their intensity rising. "You don't understand how critical this is, Ethan. We can't let the investors down," a voice boomed, laced with urgency. Marisa's heart raced. She couldn't make out every word, but a couple of phrases floated through. Contract, translation, and financial disaster. Memories of her late-night language classes flooded her mind. Could she help? The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Before she knew it, she found herself stepping closer, just enough to hear more clearly. When the conversation reached a peak of tension, she couldn't hold back any longer. She took a deep breath, drawing on a courage she hardly knew she had. Excuse me," she stammered. "I think I can help." The room fell silent, eyes turning toward her. Ethan's gaze intrigued her, a deep mix of surprise and curiosity. She quickly translated a key phrase that could save the deal from crumbling. To her amazement, as the words left her mouth, she saw the tension dissipate from Ethan's broad shoulders. There was disbelief in the air, but her heart soared. She made a difference, weaved her thread into the fabric of that moment. For the next few weeks, Ethan sought her out. "I can't let this talent go to waste," he said, smiling. The more they worked together, the more Marisa felt as though she belonged at least in his world. Every laugh shared over coffee fueled her battered spirit, lifting her from the harsh reality of her nightly scrubbing and daily exhaustion. Sophia, her vibrant daughter, saw her mother smile more. Laughter echoed at home, painting their small apartment with warmth and possibility. But shadows crept in as Marisa was thrust into Ethan's elite circle, whispered judgments slinking into the corners of fancy restaurants and cocktail parties. How can he associate with a cleaner? Their disparaging tones stung, like a reminder of the gulf between her clean floors and their polished lives. Her heart raced as she faced their skeptical stares, but she stood tall, reminding herself that her dignity was worth fighting for. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." But just as Marisa began to find her footing, the ground seemed to quake beneath her. An old piece of Ethan's past threatened to unravel everything. Secrets whispered of shady dealings that questioned the very fabric of his success. Would she stand by him, risking her newfound future, or confront the prejudices that loomed over their friendship? As she stood alone in her quiet Brooklyn room, contemplating these choices, she felt the weight of expectations pressing down. Voices surged in her head, her dreams, her daughter, her integrity. Torn between the life she coveted and the principles she believed in, the question hung heavy in the air. Could true friendship survive when everything she thought she knew was suddenly up for debate? Marisa sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the faded walls, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. She could still hear Ethan's laughter echoing in her ears, the warmth of his smile shining in her memory. But now shadows danced along the edges of those moments, shadows that whispered doubts about his true character. Were the rumors about him true? And more importantly, what would that mean for her? Sophia burst into the room, her bright eyes shining with innocence. "Mommy, can we play a game?" she asked, bouncing on her toes. Marisa forced herself to smile and nodded, though a knot twisted in her stomach. "Sure, sweetheart. What do you want to play? Let's pretend we're on an adventure. We can explore castles and fight dragons," Sophia exclaimed, her imagination boundless as they played. Marisa tried to slip into her daughter's world, forgetting the turmoil outside. But each giggle and every pretend sword fight served as a reminder of how much she wanted to protect this life for Sophia. How could she justify being around Ethan, someone who might be more dangerous than she understood? Every moment of joy was tangled with the looming questions of trust. After their game, Marisa noticed the clock ticking ominously. She had a meeting with Ethan scheduled for later that evening, one that would decide if their collaborative project would grow or crumble. Could she separate her feelings for him, however innocent they may be, from the business side? What if he was involved in something that could hurt her daughter? She took a deep breath, steadying her thoughts. Arriving at the sleek office building, her heart pounded louder with every step. Marisa glanced at her reflection in the glass doors. She looked strong, but inside she felt as delicate as a butterfly. As she walked into Ethan's office, the familiarity of the space hit her his quirks, the little details that made it feel like home to her. Ethan stood by the window looking out at the skyline, a deep frown creasing his brow. When he turned to greet her, that expression melted into a warm smile, igniting a spark within her. "Hey Marisa, thank you for coming," he said, his voice low and inviting. "Of course," she replied, fighting to keep her nerves at bay. "I wanted to discuss the project," and her voice trailed off. "Is everything okay?" he asked, stepping closer. Marisa hesitated, caught in the undertow of her thoughts. Should she voice her concerns? Or was this just another moment where she let fear dictate her choices? "Ethan, I've heard rumors about you," she finally managed, her voice quivering just slightly. He stiffened, and the warmth in his eyes dimmed. "What kind of rumors?" Marisa could feel the tension rising like a storm cloud. "About your business dealings. They sound shady," she said, the knot in her stomach tightening. Ethan's expression hardened. "You can't believe everything you hear, Marisa. I've worked too hard to let rumors ruin what I've built." Her heart thudded louder, anticipation mixed with anxiety. Was this the moment everything changed? Could she trust the man standing before her? When the truth was on the line, she felt torn between her loyalty to him and her duty to protect herself and Sophia. "What if it's true?" she asked, her voice a whisper but the weight heavy. Ethan stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. "I'll prove it's not. Just give me a chance." The moment hung in the air, charged with unsaid words and conflicting emotions. Could she truly step into the unknown, bridging the gap between trust and betrayal? Marisa drew a shaky breath, feeling the reality of her decisions looming over her like a tidal wave. The risk was palpable, but so was the potential for change. Would she stand by Ethan or turn away, leaving him and his secrets behind? The choices ahead felt profound, each road diverging into an uncertain future. She locked eyes with him, the weight of it all pressing in. "I need to know the truth now." Ethan's gaze hardened, a flicker of anger mingling with the surprise on his face. Marisa could see the wheels turning in his mind, and suddenly, a barrier formed between them. Her heart raced. She needed to cut through the tension before it smothered any chance of connection. "Ethan, please. I want to trust you," but she paused, collecting her thoughts as her mind swirled with conflicting emotions. "I just need to know what you're involved in." He stepped back, the warmth between them growing cold again. "What do you think I'm capable of, Marisa?" Ethan's voice was steady but laced with hurt. "You know me. You've seen how hard I work. You've been part of my life." "I know," she said, fear creeping into her voice. "But those rumors, they paint a different picture. I can't help but wonder if I really know you at all." Each word was a small dagger, but honesty felt like the only way forward. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration that only deepened her unease. "You have to believe me, the things people say, they don't know the whole story." His voice softened and he stepped closer again, but she remained rooted in place. "Then tell me the whole story," she urged. "Let me understand." Silence settled between them, thick and heavy. Marisa could feel her pulse racing, the ache of possibility lingering in the air. She wanted to grasp the truth so desperately, and yet the fear of what it could reveal held her hostage. Ethan let out a long breath, as if he carried the weight of 100 secrets. "I don't want you to get dragged into a mess that isn't yours, Marisa. This is business, complicated business." "Complicated how?" Her voice was steady but full of urgency. "You're not just an employee. I'm not just your partner. I care about you, about us." With each confession, she felt herself inching closer to a precipice. "Then let me show you everything," he said quietly. "But you have to promise me one thing. No matter what you find, you won't run. Just hear me out." Marisa opened her mouth but no words came. Instead, 1,000 scenarios raced through her mind, each darker than the last. What if she was standing on the edge of destruction? What if his truth unraveled everything she had built for herself and Sophia? I can't promise that, Ethan, she whispered. I have a daughter to protect. She watched as his expression shifted from hope to despair in a heartbeat. A creased brow, a tight jawline, his vulnerability swept into view, leaving her breathless. I understand, but if you walk away now, he began, but she interrupted him. Will you let me decide once I hear your side? She felt the weight of desperation in her chest. I just need the truth. His eyes held hers for what felt like an eternity. Then meet me tonight. I'll show you everything. The offer hung there, tantalizing yet terrifying. A promise of answers came wrapped in uncertainty. Suddenly, Marisa felt the longing and aching desire to understand who he truly was, to see behind the curtain he had kept drawn. Okay, she finally breathed, feeling both relief and dread. Tonight. As she turned to leave, Marisa's heart raced. The choice was hers, but it felt monumental. What truths would tonight unfold? And at what cost? Walking out of the office, Marisa felt a chill wrap around her. The sun dipped lower in the sky, shadows creeping closer. With every step, she questioned her decision. Was she stepping closer to answers or deeper into a web of lies? The weight of the unknown pressed on her, but as she reached her car, one thought echoed, a mix of determination and fear. What would she discover when the secrets of Ethan's life came into the light? Marisa's stomach twisted as she drove, the road unwinding ahead like the tangled mess of thoughts in her mind. The sunset bathed everything in a warm glow, but she felt only cold uncertainty. What had she agreed to? The promise of the truth was alluring, yet its potential impact frightened her. With Sophia's laughter echoing in her ear, she tightened her grip on the steering wheel. Arriving home, Marisa found comfort in the familiar chaos of her small apartment. Toys littered the living room, remnants of an ordinary day mixed with the weight of extraordinary circumstances. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the love she felt for her daughter. Sophia, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in her mother's heart, was sitting cross-legged on the floor, building a tower with colorful blocks. Hi, Mama, Sophia chirped, her joy illuminating the room like sunshine breaking through clouds. Marisa's heart swelled. In that moment, the stakes intensified. She had to protect this little world. Hey, my sweetheart, Marisa replied, forcing a smile. She sank down beside Sophia and helped her stack the blocks, a momentary escape from her worries. But as much as she tried to focus, her mind drifted to Ethan. Each block was a reminder of stability, each soft laugh a plea not to shatter their little home. Will you tell me a story? Sophia asked, her eyes glistening with hope. Marisa hesitated, searching for a tale that could distract them both. How about the one about the brave knight who saves the day? As she spun the tale of courage and adventure, her thoughts flickered back to Ethan. What kind of battle was he involved in? And why was he so adamant about keeping her in the dark? A knight, didn't he keep secrets? He fought openly. Can I be a knight too? Sophia's voice brought her back. Of course, Marisa said, pouring love into the words. You can be the bravest knight of all. But as the story unfolded, Marisa felt a pang of guilt. What if the knight was hiding something? What if, much like her, he harbored secrets that could unravel everything? The uncertainty gnawed at her, darkening the corners of her mind. Night fell, the world outside dimmed, and her phone buzzed against the coffee table. Marisa's heart leaped. It was an incoming message from Ethan, her breath hitching as she opened the text. Are you on your way? With shaky hands, Marisa replied, her fingers dancing nervously over the screen. Yes, I'll be there soon. She took a moment, the weight of indecision crashing over her. Her phone buzzed again and she read his following message. Just remember, I care about you. I need you to trust me. The sincerity in those words struck her deeply. With a determined breath, Marisa kissed her daughter's forehead, whispering, I'll be right back. Just a quick errand. As she stepped outside, the night enveloped her like a shroud. The air was thick with anticipation. The journey was short, filled with thoughts racing faster than her heartbeat. This wasn't just about her anymore. Arriving at their meeting spot, Marisa's pulse quickened. The shadows loomed, reflecting her internal turmoil. Would this night bring clarity or chaos? When Ethan finally appeared, the tension radiated off him like an electric current. Their eyes locked, and for all the unsaid words between them, one truth hung heavy in the air. She was about to step into a world shrouded in secrets, and there would be no turning back. "Let us get started," Ethan said. A mix of urgency and concern etched across his features. Marisa nodded, her heart racing as they moved into the unknown together. But even as they began, one question lingered in her mind, clawing at her resolve. Was she ready for the revelations that awaited them? What would become of them once the truth came pouring out? The alley was dimly lit, the flickering streetlights casting long shadows. Marisa took a deep breath, willing herself to steady her nerves. Ethan's presence was reassuring yet daunting. They moved as if drawn together by an invisible thread. She could sense the weight of his secrets, like a storm cloud hanging over them. "Do you want to start?" Marisa asked, her voice steady but laced with anxiety. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, a gesture that dialed away some of her resolve. "There's something you need to understand before we go further." "What is it?" Marisa replied, her heart pounding. She was ready for anything, or so she thought. "I didn't come to you until now because I was trying to protect you," Ethan said, his face falling serious. "What I'm caught up in, it's dangerous. And it involves someone very close to you." The chill in her bones deepened. "What do you mean?" "Sophia," Ethan said softly. "Her name keeps coming up." Marisa felt the world tilt beneath her. "Sophia? How is she involved in any of this?" Ethan stepped closer, urgency in his eyes. "People connected to me, they know about her. They think they can use her as leverage." Visions of dark suits, threatening glances, and the terror of losing her daughter flooded Marisa's mind. "Use her? For what?" "To get to me," he replied, the tension in his jaw tightening. "I'm not the man you think I am, Marisa. There's a whole side of my life you don't know." Her gut twisted. "Then tell me, please." Ethan took a moment, as if weighing his next words against the avalanche of emotions swirling between them. "I'm involved in a business that's not entirely above board. I never wanted to drag you into this, you deserve better." Marisa felt the floor drop away beneath her. "You didn't think I had the right to know? This is our lives we're talking about. I'm a part of this whether you like it or not." "I was trying to protect you," he insisted, his voice soft yet urgent. "What I do could put you both in danger. I thought I could handle it myself." Her heart ached. Was this the man she knew? The one who held her heart so tightly, yet was keeping her blinds closed to the truth? "So where does this leave us?" Ethan stepped back, and the distance felt cavernous. "I don't know if it's safe for you to be near me right now." "No," Marisa practically shouted, panic lacing her tone. "You can't just walk away. We can fight this together." He turned, the angst in his expression mirrored in the shadows around them. "I need to make sure you and Sophia are safe. That's all that matters." Desperation pooled in Marisa's chest. "And what about us? What if I don't want to live in fear? What if I want to fight alongside you?" He hesitated, glancing back. "It's not that simple. But if there's one thing you need to know when it all comes out to light, you may not recognize me anymore." Fear gripped Marisa. "What do you mean?" But Ethan only shook his head, his eyes haunted. "I'll do whatever it takes to protect you. Just stay away for now." And with that he turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving Marisa standing alone in the flickering light, an array of questions spiraling through her mind. Her heart raced, teetering on the edge of despair. She felt lost, but one thing was clear. This was just the beginning of a dark maze she must navigate alone. Could she keep Sophia safe and hold on to her family as chaos loomed closer? As she turned to leave, one thought echoed through her. What other secrets were waiting to be revealed? Marisa's heart felt like a drum in her chest as she stumbled away from the alley. The darkness around her seemed to swallow her whole, thick and suffocating. Doubt clawed at her insides, mixing with a panic that webbed through her thoughts like 1,000 needles. Ethan's words echoed painfully in her mind. How could he think he was protecting her by shutting her out? She pulled her phone from her pocket, checking for any messages from Sophia. Nothing. The quietness of the screen filled her with dread. What if those people Ethan mentioned were close to her daughter? Their threat loomed in her mind like a shadow, stretching longer and darker with every second that passed. As she walked towards home, the city bustled around her, blissfully unaware of the turmoil spinning in her heart. She saw families laughing, couples strolling hand in hand. Life continued on as usual, but for Marisa, Everything felt irrevocably changed. Ethan had cut her free from their shared dream, leaving her standing on a precipice, staring into an abyss of uncertainty. With each step, her resolve solidified. She couldn't wait for Ethan to decide it was safe to talk again. She wouldn't put Sophia or herself at risk simply because someone thought they could intimidate her. Sure, the weight of Ethan's secrets was heavy, but Marisa had her own strength of fierce, unwavering love for her daughter. Okay, she whispered to herself as she turned the corner onto her street. Think, Marisa. What do you need to do? Her thoughts raced. She needed to find answers. She needed to understand the world Ethan had buried deep within himself for her sake. What kind of business was he involved in? And how could she counter whatever shadows loomed over their lives? Once home, she embraced the stillness, the normalcy almost deceptive. She slipped off her shoes, leaving them by the door. The air felt thick, oppressive, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath, waiting for something to break the silence. Mom? Sophia's clear, sweet voice rang through the hallway. Marisa's heart squeezed. Hey, sweetie. Just finishing up some work. How was school? It was good. Sophia bounced into the living room, her energy lighting up the space. We started a science project, and Marisa cut her off gently. That sounds great. But, can we talk about something? The enthusiasm in Sophia's eyes dimmed slightly, but she nodded. Sure. What's up? Taking a breath to steady herself, Marisa sat on the couch, motioning for Sophia to join her. I need to ask you some questions about people you know. Anyone at school saying strange things? Any adult you think is a little odd or different? Sophia scrunched up her nose. You mean like the new substitute? He's super weird. He keeps staring at us from behind his desk. Marisa felt a cold shiver trace her spine. Weird how? Like he knows things. Like he was watching me during lunch and I think he knows my name. But it's fine. Sophia giggled, brushing off her mother's unease. Marisa's heart dropped again. What's his name? I don't remember. Starts with a C, I think. Marisa nodded, feeling the gears of her mind start to turn. Could there be a connection? Did Ethan's world influence even the innocent lives of children? Okay, sweetie. Next time you see anything strange, promise you'll let me know, alright? Of course. Sophia's smile returned, but it didn't erase the worry lines forming on Marisa's forehead. As Sophia ran off, Marisa's thoughts tangled in a web of fear and determination. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot, with the night still heavy outside. A new familiarity crept into the air, one that felt like a challenge. Marisa would fight for her family. And for Ethan, she would uncover the truth. What if Sophia was already at the center of something bigger than them all? With a mix of dread and anticipation, Marisa grabbed her phone, ready to dig deeper. What had Ethan left unsaid? And what dangerous paths would she walk to protect her daughter? Marisa sat on the edge of her bed, phone in hand, the glow illuminating the shadows around her. She hesitated, muscles tight with uncertainty. What if she dug too deep? What if she found something she didn't want to see? A shaking breath escaped her lips as she opened her browser, typing in the name of the new substitute teacher. Cameron Wells. The letter seemed innocent enough, yet her gut twisted at the thought of Sophia's words. The screen filled with images of a young man, dark hair neatly styled, sharp eyes that felt like they could see straight through her. A chill prickled her skin. She scrolled through article headlines. Cameron Wells, the mystery teacher. He had recently moved to town under a veil of secrecy. The articles were riddled with vague references, hinting at a chaotic past, and Marisa couldn't help but feel a sinking anxiety settle in her stomach. Suddenly, her phone buzzed, prompting her heart to jump. A message from Ethan. Can you talk? Everything in her screamed to ignore it, to allow the anger to rise like a wall between them. But the urgency tinged in his words broke through. She felt drawn to respond, yet she typed and deleted her response several times. Finally, she managed one simple reply. I'm busy. It felt incomplete, but leaving him hanging was all she could muster at the moment. Her fingers trembled as she flipped back to her search, digging deeper into Cameron. Perhaps someone else knew him, one of the parents or staff at the school. She found a forum filled with parents discussing recent happenings, how this new teacher had a strange way of gripping conversations, leaving stories hanging in the air, making people feel like they were left on a cliff's edge. One parent claimed he had seen Wells talking to a man outside of school, a man who looked as if he belonged in a shadow. Marissa's chest tightened. Was that what Ethan was afraid of? As the night dragged on, unease transformed into determination. She pored over social media, searching for connections. Each click introduced new fears, every revelation building upon the others. If Ethan truly believed he was keeping them safe by pulling back, he was only half right. If something was indeed lurking in Sophia's world, she needed to confront it not just for her daughter, but for her own sake too. With newfound clarity, Marisa decided she would go to the school tomorrow. She would speak to the principal, maybe even other parents. There had to be a way to lift the veil of secrecy hovering before her. Just then, another buzz pulled her from her thoughts. Another message from Ethan. "Can we meet? Please. I need to explain." She read the words, heart pounding. Anger fluttered beneath her skin at the idea of meeting face to face when he should have been here all along. But part of her still yearned for understanding, for closure. A knot formed in her throat. "Why?" There was a long pause before he replied. "'Cause it's worse than I thought. They're closer to you than I can say." A chill raced down her spine. What did he mean by that? The urgency of the night pressed down on her. An invisible weight that fueled her fear and determination. Gripping her phone, Marisa made her decision. She would meet him, she had to know. But she couldn't go in blind. Tomorrow would be about uncovering more than just the truth about Ethan. It would be about digging into the shadows that connected all of them, with dread and hope twisting together like a storm. She finally laid her head down, readying herself for the fight ahead. But when she closed her eyes, she couldn't shake the nagging thought: if Ethan believed they were in real danger, what other truths lay out of reach? What if uncovering them could mean risking everything they had left? The morning light streamed through Marissa's window, spilling warmth onto her face. But it did little to chase away the restless feeling that had nestled deep in her gut. Today was not just another day. It was her chance to uncover answers. She could almost hear her heart thumping in time with her thoughts, questions swirling, uncertainty mingling with the urge to protect her daughter. After breakfast, the house felt oddly quiet. Sophia had left for school, her cheerful chatter replaced with an eerie stillness. Marisa took one last glance in the mirror, fixing her hair nervously. She dressed with purpose, donning a simple but confident outfit that made her feel grounded. At the school, the usual bustle of parents and kids filled the halls, laughter bouncing off the walls. Yet, Marisa felt like a ghost moving among them, somewhat detached from the world surrounding her. She fixed her sights on the principal's office, her heart racing as dread settled heavy in her chest. "Marisa!" A voice startled her. It was Linda, a fellow parent. They exchanged small talk, but her mind was elsewhere. She wasn't there for social pleasantries. After an awkward goodbye, Marisa pushed open the principal's door. Mr. Jenkins looked up, balancing a stack of paperwork. "Marisa, what can I do for you?" "Thank you for seeing me," she managed, swallowing her nerves. "I wanted to talk about Cameron Wells." At the mention of the new teacher's name, Mr. Jenkins frowned. "Cameron is a dedicated teacher. I've heard positive feedback." Marisa took a breath, sensing she had to tread lightly. "I've heard some concerning things about his past, and Sophia mentioned things that made me uneasy. I assure you, Marisa, the school screens its staff thoroughly." He seemed dismissive, but she pressed, "What if there's something more?" As she spoke, his expression shifted. "Our priorities are the students' safety, and I take your concerns seriously. However, I cannot disclose personnel matters." Frustration bubbled inside her. She could see Mr. Jenkins was unwilling to share, and a sense of urgency pushed her forward. There are parents who seem worried, discussing strange interactions. And Ethan, he has information about the dangers. Mentioning Ethan's name sparked a change in Mr. Jenkins's demeanor. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "What did Ethan tell you?" Marisa hesitated. Disclosing Ethan's words felt like crossing a line, but she needed an ally. "He said it's worse than we think, that something or someone is closer to us." "I can't discuss this," he started, but Marisa wouldn't let him off the hook that easily. "Look, if we don't address this now, we might miss our chance to protect our kids. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to keep Sophia safe." A long silence passed, filled only by the ticking clock on the wall. Finally, Mr. Jenkins sighed, leaning back in his chair, contemplating. "Fine. Brown and Green, my school secretary and janitor, they may know something. But you didn't hear it from me. At that moment, a knot of resolve tightened within her. She was one step closer to understanding what was happening, yet a new flicker of concern ignited. Who was Cameron Wells, really? And what implications would this have not only for Sophia, but for everyone involved? Leaving the office, Marisa felt both empowered and terrified. The next step was clear, but the stakes were higher than she had anticipated. If she was to dig deeper, she needed to tread carefully. Back at home, she lost herself in thoughts of Ethan. Could he really be trusted? What if he was right about the danger lurking in their and Sophia's lives? The day pressed on, and the shadows felt heavier with every passing moment. A meeting with Ethan loomed over her like a storm cloud. Would they be prepared for whatever truth waited to break through? Tonight, she would confront not only the mystery of Cameron Wells, but also the secrets hidden in her own life. But would the revelations be worth the risk? Marisa pushed herself toward the uncertainty. Knowing her choices would define the futures they would face, the flicker of hope, battling the encroaching shadows of fear. As she turned to face the evening light, she took a deep breath, readying herself for the conversations to come. How far could she push against the darkness? And more importantly, what would it cost her to find out? As dusk settled and shadows slid across her living room, Marisa gathered her thoughts like a pile of leaves ready to be swept away. The evening felt heavy with unanswered questions, and she rose from the couch, pacing the floor. Anticipation twisted with anxiety in her stomach. What could Ethan possibly reveal tonight? The thought sent a fresh wave of unease rolling through her. Just as the clock struck 6, a soft knock echoed through the silence. Marisa's heart fluttered. Perhaps this was it, the moment that would lead her closer to the truth she desperately sought. She opened the door to find Ethan standing there, his familiar scruffy hair and worn jacket contrasting with the worry etched across his features. "Hey," he said quietly, stepping inside as if he too was afraid of the encroaching shadows. "Thanks for coming over," Marisa replied, closing the door behind him. "I really need your help." They settled into the kitchen, the small table between them feeling both intimate and intimidating. Marisa noticed how Ethan fidgeted with his hands. Nervous energy swirled in the air. She straightened her back, determined to steer the conversation. "Tell me about Cameron Wells," she urged. Ethan took a deep breath, glancing around as if to ensure no one else was listening. "He's different. There's something off about him. Kids say things. Odd things." Marisa leaned closer, sensing a revelation was about to unfold. "Like what?" "There were rumors at my old school," he continued, swallowing hard. "Parents pulled their kids out after some strange incidents. But no one talked about it much, you know? Too afraid." Her pulse quickened. "What kind of incidents?" "Ethan, you have to be straight with me." He hesitated before replying, his voice low. "There were reports of him being too close, too involved. And not just with the kids. Some parents say he has a way of manipulating those around him, like he can charm them into ignoring what's happening." Marisa felt ice wash over her. A pit formed in her stomach as she connected Ethan's words with her worries about Sophia. "Are you saying he's dangerous?" "I don't know," but Ethan shifted uncomfortably. "He's got this power. The way the kids talk about him, it's like he casts a spell or something. It's unnerving." Marisa's mind raced. Her heart ached with the thought of Sophia. What if he's targeting her? What if she's in danger? Ethan's gaze dropped. "I think we need to dig deeper. There are too many unanswered questions. The school is hiding something." Feeling a rush of determination, Marisa nodded. "Then we find out what's going on. Together. We have to protect the kids." Just then a loud crash broke through the conversation and both jumped. The sound came from the living room. Marisa's heartbeat echoed in her ears as she motioned for Ethan to stay back. She cautiously moved toward the source of the noise, dread pooling in her gut as she stood at the threshold. The sight that met her eyes made her blood run cold. There was a figure silhouetted against the fading light, and the shadows seemed to wrap around them like a cloak. The figure straightened up, revealing a face she recognized all too well. "Cameron," Marisa gasped. The room felt like it was spinning. Ethan rushed to her side, his voice barely a whisper. "What is he doing here?" "Marisa," Cameron said coolly, as if they'd been friends all along. "We need to talk." Marisa's heart raced with fear and confusion. What did he want? How had he gotten in? Was he just going to brush off her concerns? Or did he have something more sinister planned? No, she said firmly. You're not welcome here. But Cameron's eyes glinted with something more unsettling than charm. You're going to want to listen, he smiled, a chilling grin that made her skin crawl. The truth is closer than you think. How would she respond to this unexpected confrontation? What would it reveal about the danger they were truly facing? The room was electric with tension. Marisa stood frozen, caught between the safety of her home and the impending storm that Cameron represented. The fear swirling inside her twisted with anger, igniting a defiance she didn't know she possessed. Ethan beside her was equally unsettled, his dark brows furrowed in concern. How did you get in here? Marisa demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos in her chest. Cameron casually leaned against the doorframe, his grin never faltering. Let us just say I'm resourceful. Besides, we really need to talk about your recent investigations. Marisa exchanged a quick glance with Ethan. The unspoken understanding hung heavy in the air. They were collectively peeling back layers of a dangerous truth they had yet to fully comprehend. Those rumors aren't just talk, Marisa. You should know by now, poking around my life can have repercussions, Cameron said, his tone dripping with a threat cloaked in charm. The fire inside Marisa ignited further. Repercussions? Are you threatening me? I'm not afraid of you. She squared her shoulders, taking a step forward. Ethan caught her arm, his voice urgent yet soft. Wait, Marisa. Let us not provoke him. Cameron's eyes sparkled with amusement, adding to the sickening discomfort in the room. Oh, you think I'm here for a physical confrontation? No. This is much bigger than that. I'm here because you need to understand the stakes. Marisa felt her heart racing as she tried to maintain control. Then what do you want? Simple, really. The safety of your daughter and yours depends on one thing, your compliance. Cameron's gaze shifted between her and Ethan, assessing the tension. What are you talking about? Ethan's voice was low, tight with anger. You're not scaring us. Cameron chuckled. The sound piped in more danger than amusement. Not yet. But soon you might beg for my protection. Marisa, you're venturing into a world that is not yours to navigate. Things are darker than you can imagine. Marisa wanted to scream, to protest and fight back against Cameron's manipulation. This was her home, her daughter, her life he was threatening. Get out, she demanded. You have no right to invade our lives. Maybe he shrugged, unfazed. But everything on the surface is just a mask. The truth lies beneath, and you're playing a dangerous game by digging too deep. I suggest you stop before you lose everything. What are you hiding? Ethan demanded, his voice rising in anger. Cameron smiled wider, a predator savoring its prey. Think of it this way, I have connections and right now they don't view you favorably. You're in a vulnerable position, but if you play your cards right, I can help guide you. What do you mean? Marisa felt like she was suffocating, knowing she couldn't let his threats dictate her life. There are people who want to use you both. There are powerful forces at play. And I'm offering you a chance to stand by my side to be safe. The offer hung between them, thick and tainted. Marisa gripped the edge of the table, teeth clenched. Why would you help us? Cameron brings his hand to his chin, leaning in slightly. Protecting you benefits my interests. You could have a place among the influential. If only you understand the power of alliances. Or you're trying to manipulate us into giving you what you want. Ethan shot back, stepping defensively in front of Marisa. Potentially. But that's not what's important right now. Time is ticking. If you want to keep Sophia safe, you'll need to play the game and do as I say. I'll never align myself with someone like you, Marisa declared, all doubt washed away by newfound strength. We'll find our own way. Cameron laughed, the sound reverberating off the walls. We'll see how long that bravado lasts, Marisa. Just remember, choices have consequences. With a final piercing look, he slipped out of the doorway and into the night, leaving an uncomfortable silence resonating in the air. Marisa exhaled, her heart pounding. What just happened? She murmured, facing Ethan. We need to act before he does, he said urgently, taking her hands firmly. Marisa, we're not helpless. Whatever darkness is approaching, we can face it together. Her resolve strengthened. You're right. We won't let him control us and we won't be victims. We'll find a way to protect Sophia and ourselves. Tears of determination sprang in her eyes as she thought of her daughter. No more hesitations. We will confront the truth together. With that declaration, they locked eyes. A silent vow formed between them. The fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. Together they would not only stand against Cameron and whatever shadows he cast but also reclaim their lives from the grips of fear and uncertainty. They left the remnants of doubt behind as they planned their next steps, determined to shine a light into the darkness that threatened their very existence. Together they would chase the truth because now they understood one crucial reality. They were not alone. The love between them had power, a power that could ignite change and forge a path through the shadows ahead. And together they would be unstoppable. If you're feeling the spark of inspiration, then here's your chance. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now because it feeds the algorithm and keeps these stories alive. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through those actions.